to be teaching you the very basics about the clarinet, how to assemble it, how to make your first sound, and how to cross the break. Okay, so this is what the clarinet case looks like. It has two latches on the front, and it's going to have a label on top. For us, because ours is a school-owned instrument, ours has our logo on top, and you would want to flip these two up, and it should open. Inside, this will be your case, and you're going to have all of these pieces. Normally, you'll have to get your own reeds. Now, this looks like a lot of pieces, and I can understand how this could be very overwhelming, so I'm going to walk you through how I would assemble this instrument. Okay, so we have the clarinet case here with all of its parts, and something of note is that while you're setting up your clarinet, you're actually going to want to soak your reeds, and the way that you do this is just by popping it in your mouth and letting it just get more damp as you're setting up your instrument. So just like halfway in, so that this part, the upper part, will become wet, and eventually you want to do a little bit on this lower half too, just so it sticks better to the base of the clarinet. Okay, so first we're going to take this bottom piece here, and we're going to look for the cork and match it with the bell. And what we're going to do is we're going to twist, making sure to hold these two buttons on the bottom and twist together until it's nice and tight, like so. Then we're going to grab the second longest piece, which is the rest of the body, and we're going to assemble it. But we have to make sure that this bottom key, which I'll show you in a second, is lined up with the rest of the body. Here I'll show you more closely. And now we're going to assemble the barrel. The barrel, you're going to take the water part and you're going to attach it to the upper body. You can just twist it on there, should be nice and easy, and if not, just use some cork grease to get it into place. Once we have done this, we're going to work on the mouthpiece. What we're going to be doing is taking this off the ligature, and we're just going to be using this mouthpiece. The part that is open will be facing this key, so facing yourself. So go ahead and twist it in, and just so you know, in case you're having any issues with the corks, it is vital to have some cork grease to make sure that everything goes on without any pressure. It should be very easy to put everything together. Once we have this, we're going to take our reed that we have been holding on to inside of our mouth, and we're going to line it up with the top of the clarinet. The reason that I actually mentioned you should keep it in your mouth, especially this part, but also here, is so that when you put it up against the clarinet to put your ligature on, and I only have one hand, but it should stick better and stay more in place, so it's a lot easier to put your ligature on. This is how it should look like from your view once you put it on, with the screws to the right. Some ligatures are facing front, where the screws are on the front side of the clarinet, but those screws are also to the right. So as long as your screws are on the right hand side of your body, you should be completely fine. When you're going to make a noise, you're actually going to fold your lip up like this and create kind of like a little platform. So if you were to do that and bring it to you here, and then put your lips around it to make a vacuum seal. Like so. Now that we have our clarinet together, we're going to make our first note. So this over here, you want to make sure that you're covering fully. And then let's start with our first note. We're going to have 1, 2, and 3. And make sure these are all covered. Your thumb is going to go right here, and you can just rest it. It doesn't press any keys down for this note, and we're just going ahead. We're going to make that shape that I mentioned earlier here and over. Go ahead and try a couple times and see if you can make that note. So the clarinet is actually a transposing instrument, and what that means is that while we see everything in the key of B flat, everyone else sees the key of C. So we are going to be transposing our notes in order to create the correct pitch that everyone else would hear. So while it feels like we just played the first 5 notes of our C major scale, we were actually playing the first 5 notes of our B flat scale. But what we have as written is different than how it sounds. If you want some advice on this, feel free to practice with a tuner. A tuner is going to show how it sounds versus how it plays, but make sure when you're starting that you have your fingering chart up right next to your tuner. Another way to explain this, the C is the note that we just played, and that is going to be right here. But everyone else, when they hear it, it sounds like a B flat. So to play our B flat scale, we're going to pretend that it is a major second up. So a B flat is a C, and then D, E, F, G, and so on. And G is the top note that we finished on when I showed you those first 5 notes. We want to play the whole scale, not just the first 5 notes. But the hard thing is that in order to get the top notes, we actually need to cover this key. And what it does is it creates a lot more pressure, and this is called the break. Once you cross the break, it becomes a lot harder to play. Watch. See how hard it was for me to get back on track? So I'm going to be showing you some easy ways for you to get over that. Okay, so here's my advice for going over the break. What we're going to be doing is putting all of our fingers down, so this back thumb, not the top one yet, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and we're going to play this low note. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rotating our finger like so to press that top key. Try it again. One more time for good measure. Try doing it a couple times on your own to see if you can cross that break. So now that we've crossed the break, we're going to finish our scale. So we have our C, D, E, F, G. Next is just going to be this top one, no back. Sounds like this. And our next note, which will require for us to press both of these back keys, will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, pinky, 1, 2, 3. And our next note, you will lift this pinky and put this one down. Now what is really challenging, especially when you're beginning, is going from that A to the B flat. Now how do you switch between those notes? My greatest advice that I've learned is to actually just hover over all of the keys and to use this finger and rotate it down instead of going up and down. And that will create a much smoother transition. So go ahead and set up your fingers as if you're going to play that next note B flat, but press down on the A and then roll to the next note. The best advice I have is actually just to keep practicing, repeating, and work slowly and start to build up to a faster speed. Eventually your fingers will get it, eventually your embouchures will get it, and you're going to squeak. It's a squeaky instrument, but the best that you can do is just keep trying, keep practicing, and setting aside a couple minutes a day so that you can build up the endurance to play this instrument. Learning the break is going to be very frustrating, and it's going to take a long time, but once you get it, I promise it'll get much easier, and you might still squeak once you get it. That's okay. That's part of learning a new instrument. Thank you so much for watching the very basics of the clarinet. I hope this was useful, and let me know what other instruments you would like to learn about, how to start, or how to even set them up. I hope that you enjoyed, and take care and happy practicing. Bye!